Hey, this is Irvin Griffin, and I'm gonna be honest. I was gonna actually make this this past week. Actually, I was gonna make this Friday, but some other things came up, and then plus the more I thought about it, I said, you know what? This involves a couple, married couple, very famous married couple. So I said, no, I'm gonna need my girlfriend Regina on this one because I think we need a woman and a man's perspective on this. Now, let me say this about Ayesha Curry. Now, her current comments, what she said, was there anything wrong with what she said? Actually, no, there wasn't. It's just the fact that, number one, you said it in a public forum. And number two, this isn't the first time you have said stuff like this. That's embarrassing the crap, not only out of Stephan Curry, but it also, especially with the stuff about, because everybody knows how funny I am about kids. What you said about your children, talk about, oh, I never wanted, that's my grandfather clock in the background, sorry. But they that you didn't, you didn't want to be a mom or this, that's going to be an awkward conversation or confrontation when those kids get older. Because let's be honest, if they don't know how to already, they're going to figure out how to search on the internet, and that comes up and that comment comes up. That's going to be an awkward conversation. And I know if I was those kids, I would feel some kind of way if my parents said something like that about me. But seriously, I'm like, woman, those are the type of conversations that should stay behind closed doors. Those are the type of conversations you need to be having with your kids, and more importantly, your husband. And the reason I can't feel sorry for her, I would be like, Miss Ayesha Curry, I hear what you're saying. I even agree with it. But here's the thing. Number one, you could have told him no many moons ago. You could have told him no at 19. You could have told him no the day of the wedding. You could have told him no to kids by being on birth control. Not only saying it verbally. You could have told him no after you had your first child. Be like, look, let's slow down on having kids. You could have told him no at any point. He did not hold a gun to your head and say, you marry me now or it's bye-bye. He didn't hold a gun to your head and make you get barefoot, butt naked, with everything out, and lay down and give up your womb so we can have these babies.
No.
He did not hold a gun to your head. And let me say on the man's point, I don't like Corey Holcomb. Let me be clear about that. Personally, I find the guy very rude and unnecessarily offensive. But that said, he does make some good points on occasion. And one of the points he made about Stephan Curry is he does come from a line of suckers. Although in defense of the father of Stephan Curry's father, in defense of him, he admitted to his cheating, but he did his cheating while he was an active NBA player. As far as we know, he has not done it since he retired. In that situation, it was the wife that allegedly cheated on him with one of his which actually I made a couple videos about it years ago. You can find it in my library somewhere. With one of his boys, which I've always thought that is the worst move a man or woman can do. First of all, you shouldn't cheat on your spouse or cheat on your significant other at all. But of all people, never cheat on them with close friends or family. No. I mean, I know I can't tell nobody who to mess with or nothing, but to me that is just low. That's really low. You messing with your man's best friends or a male relative. No, that's really low. Likewise, I would look at a man sideways. Man, but she fine. You can't help it. I'd be like, I don't give a damn if she Holly Berry in her prime. I don't care if it's shoot, who was that one dark skinned model that was the rage? And the black community at one point in the late 90s, early 2000s. She used to pop up on like the Parenthood as the auntie of Zaria and all them, and then she also popped up as LL Cool J's love interest towards the end of In the House. I know her last name was Moore. I know that's what, but I forgot what her whole name was. I'm sure somebody in the comment section can tell me who it was. But I don't care if it was that chick in her prime. I don't care if it was Lisa Ray in her prime.
Oh, Lord.
Prime. I don't care who it is. No, you don't do that. You don't mess with her. You shouldn't mess with no woman on your wife or girlfriend at all. But you definitely, close friends of hers and family of hers are automatic outs. Heck, they're even questionable even if your girlfriend or wife died and no longer are here on this earth. They're even questionable there. But they're definitely off the table while they're here. But going back to, he comes from a line of suckers. I mean, I'm sure Ayesha Curry probably, I wouldn't say make it clear, but there was hints that she did not want to go through with this, but he failed to see him. And from what I understand, his own brother, who's actually married to a daughter of an NBA player, actually had to fight over her with another player that allegedly she was flirting around with. So these guys, he does come from a line of suckers, but still, at any point she could have said no. And I know you're itching to say something. So
yeah, because I wouldn't call, look, Corey Holcomb has a whole different way of thinking. Now, I don't necessarily. There's some things he has a point on, and then there's just some things he's just kind of off the rails. Is he a sucker? No. He's a gentleman. He handles it in a different way.
Yeah.
I am not going to say that Stephan Curry is the type of guy who's a simp. He is beyond a simp. He's just smart. He's smart with his money. He's smart with his brand. He's smart with his name. And he's smart with his whole legacy. She's not. I'm sorry. Ayesha Curry, and I know that Irvin's called her Alicia a few times, so don't blow up in the comments. But the thing is, with Ayesha Curry, the fact is that she's a part of a generation to where women constantly think the only way that I have some sort of significance or relevance is if a guy stares at me, a guy hoops and hollers, a guy wants to grab my butt, guys want to bang me. Oh, that gives me some significance, some relevance. And it's funny to me how there's some so-called feminists keep screaming that, oh, we want to be independent women, we want to have our own stuff, we want to have our own name. But y'all are literally starving for the male gaze. Doesn't that be the polar opposite of what you're supposed to be standing for? Seriously, that makes no sense to me. Why are you going out of your way to get men to look at you, but you want to be independent? That's kind of contradictory to what you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, do I feel bad for this woman? No, because she has a platform.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one thing I was going to circle around to. Compared to most women who are in similar positions as Ayesha Curry, that is how you say her name, right?
Yeah, Ayesha.
Ayesha Curry, she's in a better position than most. She's in a way better position. Even some women who otherwise sympathize with her are like, yeah, but Ayesha, you are the wife of Stephan Curry. You have a better position than most of us to be something. To be something. You are the one that has failed to take advantage of it. No, it's on you. There's been no sign, unless he knows how to hide it real good.
Yeah.
Now, I know I called him, he comes from a line of suckers, and I kind of see the point, even agree with it a little bit. But in a way, Stephan Curry is kind of like a man after my own heart, because the way he treats his wife is kind of the way I prefer to treat women that I've been involved with. I'm not really from the streets. I've been around that stuff. And that's the real reason I don't want nothing to do with it. Because that's not me. That's not who I am. That's not who I am. And in a way, I kind of sympathize with Stephan Curry. The only thing I would say to him was sir, if there was any signs that she was not feeling this, at 19 and you just went ahead through with it, part of the blame, I'm sorry, sir, has to go on you a little bit. Because if there were signs that she was reluctant or anything like that, and I don't know y'all's relationship, but if there was any signs, you should have heeded them. Trust me, what you did is, if I would have had the opportunity, especially because Ayesha Curry, I mean, I know some cats that make fun of her looks, Corey Holcomb being one of them, but I think she's a good looking woman. Now, is she the most beautiful celebrity type woman that I've ever seen? No. But is she butt ugly? No.
Well, let's be honest. Ayesha Curry, she has that exotic look. She's probably biracial. She has that exotic look. She has that look that most men, especially men that are at Stephan Curry's position, will probably marry and probably have kids with, just because of how she looks. Looks fade, honey. They fade. You may have that exotic look now, but when you're 50, you might look totally different. You might not look the same at 50 or 60 or 70. Hell, you might not look the same at 40, especially with some of the stuff you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that changes. That changes drastically. With Stephan Curry, I'm gonna be honest. If he did pull a Will Smith and he was aware of how she felt the first time of not doing this and not getting married, then yeah, the blame will fall on him. But in my opinion, I haven't heard of anybody that came out and said that she had a gun to her head. Let's be real. Jada Pinkett was young at the time and she was pregnant. Her mom was pretty much forcing her to get married because she did not want her kids to be born out of wedlock. She was practically, let's just say her mom kind of harassed her into it. So in that case, when it came to Jada getting married, do I kind of lean on her mom a little bit? Yeah, it's on her mom too. But Jada she could have gotten an annulment if she wanted to, as soon as she got her feet on the ground, because her career actually was on the trajectory.
Yeah,
and it actually was going up. She was doing well for that time, and she could have left Will at that time and actually been a single mom for choice, not because she was forced to, because she wanted to. For Ayesha Curry, she's in a position, and if Stephan Curry was smart, I pray that he got a prenup and a postnup for this woman, because she's going to probably take a lot out of him. Probably half of everything he's got, and she didn't put nothing into it. So I hope he really did lawyer up. She signed a prenup. He was smart to do that, and she understands, hey, I came in with nothing, I'll leave with nothing. But I doubt she thought that way.
No.
I doubt she thought that way. She's probably into the money now.
And unfortunately, most modern women do not think that way. I mean, I'm kind of like Eddie Murphy from the stand-up he did in the 80s, Raw, Eddie Murphy Raw, where he said, now don't get me wrong, if you two came into it with nothing and you built 300 million together, and I'm going to expand on that stand-up part, or if, let's say, she came in with some standard, and he came in, let's say, more money, more standard, but they built something separate together, then she deserves half of what they built, not half of everything he came in with.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, you deserve half. But whatever you came in with and whatever he came in with, y'all should leave with that. Like granted, he didn't have the NBA career when they first met. But unless she could show she helped get him that contract or something, no, she should not leave with that. But that's not how the law works. That's probably it. So if they get a divorce, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Stephan Curry quietly, and he would be very smart to do this, I wouldn't be surprised if he's already lawyered up behind the scenes in case she pulls that. That's why you should get a prenuptial agreement, whether you're a regular working couple or a couple on this level. Especially if you're a couple on this level.
Get a prenup if you got assets. I'm not talking about like that one little raggedy car that you have and then that she has one. Like, if you have more than $100,000 to your name, to your net worth, more than $100,000, shoot, even $200,000, get a prenup. It's not the devil, okay? It is business. At the end of the day, yeah, people like, it's gonna sully our marriage. No, it's not, because let's be honest, not all marriages last. There are times that you will break up. There are times you will get a divorce. It might be because you're just not compatible. It might be just because you just went too fast. Things happen. You got to set yourself up. Not just for the men, but for the women too. If you have a net worth of more than 100,000 or even $1 million, set yourself up. Because let's be honest, divorces can get ugly. It can get ugly on both sides, no matter how amicable you try to make it. And let's be honest, when you're working with a lawyer, the lawyer will get their 33 regardless. And you might be left with practically nothing out of that entire thing.
And they will stretch that thing out.
Yes.
Just to get more money.
Yes.
Because people on that level, divorces take a while. No. People on the level of the Currys, or you mentioned them earlier, the Smiths, you get that divorce done within a couple weeks.
Divorces, it all depends on assets. If you have a crap ton of assets, it's going to take longer. If you have kids with the assets, it's going to take longer. If it's just you two, it's going to take less time. That's how it is. And in this case with them, depending on what state that they're in, what state that they live in currently, they got to go by those laws too. Family law, everybody hates them. Everybody hates family law because it takes too doggone long to get the smallest thing done. But at the end of the day, we all know that this woman really thinks she can do well without him. I hate to break it to you, but the only way that you can do well without Stephan Curry is that you never married him in the first place. You're way too late in the game, honey. You have 4 kids with this man. You have his last name, which you're probably not going to be able to keep because you're going to fight for that. And secondly, you're trying to build up this man's name and tear it down at the same time. You can't make money off this man's name. If you really want to be an entrepreneur and do all the other stuff you want to do, be a working woman and be your own boss and all that other stuff, then you can do it on the platform you're on without destroying the man's name. He worked hard to get to where he was. You need to understand that and do something on your own. You have 4 kids. 4 kids. Be an example for them, not just for yourself. And stop trying to do it for internet clout, because that crap don't last. Lasts 15 minutes and then it's up. And let's be honest, Ayeshia Curry, a lot of people are not saying a lot of good about her right now. They're saying she's an ungrateful wife. They're calling her every name under the sun. She's messing herself up. Yep. She really is. Just for stupid internet clout that don't last. For women that don't care about you. For women that are just as messed up as you are. And Jada, good grief. The fact she was on Red Table Talk spouting out all that nonsense for a woman that's just as messed up as her. What is wrong with you?
We may have to make a separate video on that, because there's a few that Ayeshia Curry has mentioned as or kind of like seen as role models that, quite frankly, they could get their own videos. Jada Pinkett Smith and former First Lady Michelle Obama themselves another one you've mentioned too, Angela Bassett and her husband Courtney B. Vance, who I still love as actors. I still love them as actors, but as people, while they're not, at least not publicly, as messy, they got a couple of questionable things with them too. And let me say, I mean, and another guy that I like, Panda Press, shout out to you. I actually like your work, but I've left these comments on your videos before when you talked about this, and I've generally agreed with what you said, but then you said, well, we need people like, and you mentioned, and the ones we just named, or rather I just named, you have mentioned. I'm like, you might want to do a little more research on those 3. Oh, he mentioned Lisa Ray too, and I'm like, the only thing that they did right, they kept their dirt, for the most part, off the internet and out of the public. For the most part. That's the only thing they did different. Except for Jada.
Except for her. But she did it for different reasons. She actually did it just to build her own ego up. Probably the same thing with Ayeshia Curry. And honestly, the sad thing is, this was actually a very respectable couple in the eyes of society at this point. Because a lot of NBA marriages, a lot of sports marriages go down the toilet. They're on the news and being sullied. Yeah. People honestly praised them at one time, and then she had to open her mouth and kind of ruin all that.
Yeah.
Because she felt fat and insecure after having her child. Let's be honest. Ayesha Curry gained a lot of weight after her child. And let's be real, that's natural. That you're going to gain weight after having a child. But for crying out loud, she felt like she was ugly because men were not looking at her. Honey, people know who your husband is. Why in the world would they go after you if they know who your husband is?
Exactly. No, too much attention. And plus, look at how you're doing your husband. You think they want to have you think they want to have a creeping on the down low? Apologies, hope you wasn't triggered because I know it's an R. Kelly song. But you think people want to keep it on the? You think dudes want to keep it on the down low with you knowing who your husband is and how beloved he is, and seeing how you conduct yourself? No man is gonna want to touch you, even if they think you are fly. They ain't gonna want to touch you because number one, you're married to one of the most famous and popular NBA players out there. Number two, they seen how you conduct yourself with your husband. So if I'm a player and I'm looking to, let's just say, bend over and shag, if I can use an Austin Power reference, bend over and shag another man's wife, you're not even going to be on the list for the first two reasons. The third reason, the second that get out, especially if your name gets out, that you the one that did that, you're going to be public enemy number one. Everybody, especially in California, around where the Golden State Warriors play, they're going to want to kill you. They're going to want to kill you, and probably her too. They're going to want to kill you. They're going to want to kill you. And number four, nobody wants all that drama. They see how you move. They're going to be like, nah, I ain't creeping with her, no.
If they were basketball fans, then they have respect for Stephen Curry. They're not going to go nowhere near her.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some gooners that really don't care. Like, it's just
they generally don't care, but then they see stuff like this.
No, they still won't care. Like, seriously. They still won't care. As long as their face is not on screen and them not being put on blast, they are not going to care.
See, that's the problem, though. Gooners like that are dumb. The few that would, they're dumb.
Of course they are.
They're dumb.
It's going to somewhere else. It's not going to their brain. Let's be real. You're going to be stupid if you have no blood up there.
Yeah,
all the blood's going somewhere else.
Yeah,
come on.
I'm going to be like, nah, brah. Find another female, because, let this one go. Because if she will run her mouth about her husband, what makes you think she gonna keep quiet about you? Unless she has something really at stake. What makes you think she's gonna keep quiet about you if she will run her mouth about her husband like this?
If you got something to offer her, which is probably something that Stephan's not doing. And I'm not saying this as an insult to Stephan Curry. Let's be real. For most women who want that type of attention, there is something that they are missing in their brain. I'm not saying he is neglecting her or nothing. He's probably giving her the world and giving her everything he needs to give. But from what she actually expressed in that, I forgot that podcast that she was doing. I don't know. I think it's like a feminist podcast or something. When she was saying how Stephan reacts to certain things. He's like, why are you upset about this? You know it's not true. Like, he's a very pragmatic type of person. If you got an emotional person and a pragmatic person, that ain't gonna work. Because that emotional person wants you to coddle them. They want you to coddle them. They want you to hold them. They want you to pretty much kind of give the same attention you would give a child to them. Instead of giving them straight and direct. They want a filter. They want a filter every single day of their life. What do you think compliments are? When compliments that you haven't earned, that's a filter. She is expecting him to give her filters every single day instead of the straight up truth. Instead of the truth unfiltered. She does not like that. She wants somebody to filter, to lie to her, to make her feel good every single day. Nobody's got that energy. Shoot, I'm a woman and I don't have that energy to do that. And I don't have energy for anybody doing that for me. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm pretty much a straight shooter. I don't want anybody to give me filters. I'd rather you give it straight up, even if I don't like it. And if I need to sit down, tell me sit down. Because sometimes I can go too far. But in this case with her, she seems like somebody that just needs to be given filters every single day. Just like with Instagram. Just like with all those other apps that put filters on people's faces and make themselves look different. That's what she wants. He doesn't give that. That's why it don't work. And she wants somebody to constantly lie to her, feed her compliments every single day. She does not want anybody like him. She wants a simp, which is not Stephan.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I know I called him, it comes from a line of suckers, but honestly, Stephan is somebody that would be more after my own heart. He'd be a guy that I would call a friend. And he'd be a guy, even in my player days, I would have left his wife alone. Even if his wife was kind of throwing, as you young folks like to say, the cheeks at me, I'd be like, nah, Nah, I mean, you're a beautiful woman, Ayeshia, but no. Gotta take a pass. No. And hey, I know I'm luscious chocolate, but you keep coming at me. I may have to speak to your husband about something.
She thinks that everybody that doesn't reject her makes her feel important, makes her feel wanted. A rejection makes her feel unwanted, makes her feel unloved, makes her feel important.
Exactly.
People are going to reject you, but that doesn't measure who you are as a person.
Yeah, he's the type of dude that if I knew him in real life, and he's even a fraction of the projection he puts out in public, he's the type of dude I definitely would have respected his marriage. I'd be like, nah, bro.
Even she admit that he tries to relate with her, but the guy's a straight shooter. If you have a straight shooter with somebody who is emotional and needs a filter, it won't work. It just won't work. She wants to be babied and pampered all the time. Stephen Curry seems like a very straight shooting type of guy. Like he will not BS you. He will tell you exactly what you need to hear. She wants something she wants to hear. That's why it's not working. Mm-hmm. And with somebody with that personality, it's never going to work. You think they're going to grow with you. You think they're going to go in a different direction. You think they're going to adhere to what you're saying and maybe grow from what you're saying. In her case, no. She's very immature in the mind.
Yes.
And even though she's in her 30s right now, it'll probably take her until she's 50 by the time she snaps out of it.
Yeah, and hopefully she still has a marriage by then.
No, I doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised if she breaks up with him. Actually, no, he'll break up with her. I think it's going to be the reverse. He's going to get fed up with all this talk and ruining his name.
And if he gets fed up, I would say to Stephen Curry, please, I know your wife's kind of following Jada. Please do not be Will.
No, Please do not be Will. Here's the thing. Will was all about image. He was all about image. He was trying to project this perfect image to make his life better. And yes, he used Jada to do it. He used his kids to do it. Will ain't out of that. Will is actually just as guilty as Jada. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that Jada went out of her way to insult Will and went out of her way to make herself seem bigger than Will, which is wrong. But Will was just as bad using his wife and his kids to create an image that wasn't there. I'm not going to say the same thing about Stephen Curry. I think Stephen Curry will divorce her because he'll get fed up with her nonsense. But what he's going to do is the honorable thing. He's going to give her whatever he needs to give her financially. He's going to probably ask for maybe a joint custody of the children. And actually be able to spend time with them, because since he travels on the road, it makes sense for his ex-wife to have him. But at the end of the day, that divorce is not going to last that long. I would not be surprised within maybe 2 years or maybe a year. They're going to be done. And she's going to get a small portion of what she expects she's going to get, because knowing him, he's probably smart enough to lawyer up. Mm-hmm. He's probably smart enough to already have a free
Yeah, and plus, he's seen what happened with his mom and dad. Don't think that just because he's all smiles and everything, don't think he didn't take notes.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to do the same thing that his parents did. I don't think he's going to wait until his kids grow up. Or he might. He might just actually wait till his kids grow up and then just divorce her after that. Or the fact is, he might already be living separately from her. Mm-hmm. They might be already separated.
For all we know, yeah.
He might have his own house somewhere. She might be living in the home they all live in. And then he tries to make it normal until they get older and then they divorce fully. And he's probably already got that straight lawyer-wise, because he's a very smart man. But I do not think that they're married anymore. Like, actually married. I think that they're living separate lives.
They could be just married in name only.
I think it is just in name only, to be honest with you. I don't think they're married anymore. I think he probably has his own house somewhere.
Yeah. Which we have no proof of that, granted, but
it's just a theory, to be honest with you. Because nobody with a name like his, and as popular as this guy is, as well known as he is, gonna put up with that. No one puts up with that. And it's obvious that she does not have any respect for him. And she's like, well, I hope I don't get in trouble this time. And in my opinion, when you say that, you know you're going to get in trouble, but you don't care. It's like, I'm sorry, but not sorry. You know that you're going to get in trouble for this, and you don't care because you got to get what you have to say out. You got to get your truth out, which I hate that term, because truth is truth, and your truth is probably fiction. But in this case, she's messing herself up. Whatever platform she could have had in a very dignified way. And I'm going to bring up an example here. Vanessa Bryant. And a lot of people may not like her, but remember this. She actually stayed married to Kobe Bryant after he cheated on her publicly.
She probably had more reasons to out him.
To out him, to divorce him, to leave him, but she didn't. What happened? He ended up buying his mother-in-law a house, bought her another ring, a pink diamond, got her more money, and I don't know if anything else went into that, but she stayed with him until he's no longer here. She lost him and her daughter, but she went at it in a very dignified way. I have a lot more respect for Vanessa Bryant than I did when they first got married, because she handled it like a wife. You can't really say this about Ayeshia Curry. She's handling it like a hood rat. And that's kind of how she's acting right now. Like a dignified hood rat. Stop doing that. Stop embarrassing your kids. Stop embarrassing your husband. Stop embarrassing yourself. Put yourself on a better platform. Try to develop something for yourself to do something that you've always wanted to do. You can be outside your husband. You can be outside your husband's name. You can do something to where if you want to create your own brand, you could. If you want to be a philanthropist, you could. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you could. You're on that platform. Do it. Stop embarrassing people. Good grief.
Yeah. And I think we'll end it on that point. And because we really have nothing else to say, we would just be rambling on if we went on. So I think we said everything we need to say. So we out.